Good evening, East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Don with you in Dr. Don's Weather Center. It is Monday, August 16, 2021. It is 7 p.m. Central, 8 o'clock Eastern on your Monday evening. And we are here tonight to talk to you about Tropical Storm Fred, which made landfall this afternoon pretty close to Apalachicola, Florida, down around Port St. Joe, and is now about 50 miles inland as it continues to move off to the north, northwest, maybe a little bit now more to the northeast at about 9 miles per hour, which is not a real fast mover, but not an extremely slow mover either. What we would not want to see is something around 2 to 3 miles per hour. So as long as he stays around 9 to 10 miles per hour or faster, then I think that's going to minimize our flooding potential, at least across East Alabama and West Georgia. Now, that may be a different story up in North Georgia if things pan out. We'll talk to you about that here in just a few moments. So before I get started with the weather and show you everything that's going on right now and where we think we're going to go with this storm, let me remind you that if you are watching us on Facebook or Twitter, then please at least comment and let me know where you're watching from. So especially you folks that are in the direct path of the storm, and you folks that are down there maybe in Northwest Florida, Southwest Georgia, Southeast Alabama, I would particularly like to make sure that you let me know you're there, so I'll know where to fine-tune the information that I'm about to give you here on Dr. Don's Weather. Also, if you would like to support us, we invite you to go over to our website, drdonwx.com, and I will give you that website down in the comments there. I just put it up on the board for you, so all you have to do is click on drdonwx.com. When you go over to our website, at the very top, you'll see a button that says Donate. And all you have to do is click on that Donate button and support us. You do not have to have PayPal to support Dr. Don's Weather, though it is easier and quicker if you do that. You can use a credit card. You don't even have to have a PayPal account. It's quick, it's fast, it is secure, and we appreciate everything you do to help us out here on Dr. Don's Weather. That's why we are able to continue to do this for you across East Alabama and West Georgia. So before we get started and show you exactly where Fred's at right now, let's talk about the potential for severe weather. And what you're looking at right now is the Storm Prediction Center convective outlook for Tuesday. And as you can see, we are not looking for anything severe on Tuesday, just general scattered thunderstorms, though a rogue severe storm or two is possible, especially east of Atlanta, up in northeast Georgia, over toward Augusta, and then up in South Carolina, upstate South Carolina, North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, could see the threat of severe weather tomorrow as we get the heating of the day started, anytime from about 11 a.m. through the afternoon. Now, tropical systems are a lot like our afternoon thunderstorms. Typically speaking, unless we have a very strong system, and we don't in this case, but typically speaking, the severity of the storms will calm down a little bit during the overnight hours and then fire back up when we get the heat of the sun on the top of the clouds in the afternoon. So for East Alabama and West Georgia, the timing of Fred is good because Fred is not a particularly strong system anyway. And then you take away the heating of the day and the fact that Fred is pulling away from its fuel source, which is the Gulf of Mexico, then that lessens that threat of severe weather. And particularly for East Alabama and West Georgia, the track has shifted somewhat back to the east, so you are on the good side of the storm. You are to the left of the center of circulation, which is where you want to be. That's the drier side, and that's where less severe weather would be expected. Now, for you folks directly along the path of the storm and to the east of the storm, well, that's a different story. So let me go ahead and switch over to the Southern Union State Community College Live Doppler HD radar, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So Fred is located down here just on shore, just north of Apalachicola, Florida, and will continue right along that flashing line that you see inside that polygon, the white polygon or the cone of uncertainty. It's going to continue up to the north, just barely clipping the Wiregrass area of southeast Alabama right there, maybe coming up just to the west of Marianna, Florida, and then across Houston County in Alabama, maybe just east of the Ross Clark Circle there in Dothan, maybe right over Webb, Alabama, if you know where that's at, right over there on the Alabama-Georgia state line. And then it'll move on up very near Headland and Abbeville, and then cross into southwest Georgia, down there somewhere around Randolph County, Georgia. Now, you folks up in Randolph County, Alabama, don't start freaking on me later on tonight if you hear warnings for Randolph County. You got to make sure it's Alabama and not Georgia. I don't know who in their right mind named several counties in Alabama and Georgia the same, right on the state line, but way back when all this was put together, they did. So understand, southwest Georgia has a Randolph, they have a Lee, they have several counties that are the same as East Alabama. But anyway, so the storm's going to track right across southwest Georgia, and then it's going to end up somewhere around maybe just to the east of Columbus. And then we think right now the storm is going to track right over downtown Atlanta. That would be towards sunrise or mid-morning tomorrow. And then across northeast Georgia, maybe right across Dahlonega, and then very close to up there Blairsville, and then getting on up into eastern Tennessee by late tomorrow afternoon or overnight tomorrow night, to a point pretty close to Knoxville or Pigeon Forge or over there around Gatlinburg. So what are we going to look at right now as far as severe weather is concerned? Well, here's the good news about the severe weather potential. We have not seen that much in the way of severe weather today. As a matter of fact, the only warnings we have seen have been down there right along the coastal regions of northwest Florida. Now, we do have a tornado watch that's in effect for portions of that area. And let me take a couple of things off the screen so we can show you that a little bit better. And we're going to take those off, and here we go. So here is the watch warning boxes for the southeastern United States. Now, the pink is a tornado watch that's in effect until 9 p.m. Central this evening. It'll probably be canceled for these counties in Florida. And then the counties in Georgia, most likely the southern counties in Georgia, will probably get extended, and we may see that tornado watch go a little bit further to the north, which would cover the Albany area, and then maybe back over to the Alabama state line. And I would expect this tornado watch area to kind of continue to move to the north and northeast as the storm moves to the north and northeast. But my folks up here in East Alabama and West Georgia, understand the storm is going to be going to the northeast, kind of like that particular direction that I'm moving the cursor right there. And the tornado watch box will be along that line and to the right or to the east. So I'm thinking it's probably going to keep the tornado watch away from East Alabama and West Georgia. Right now, I don't think that we have a significant or even a minimal risk of severe weather across East Alabama or West Georgia. But now, having said that, we've got a tropical system that's going to be coming up through southeast Alabama and central Georgia during the overnight hours, and you can never completely rule out that possibility of a quick spin-up tornado or a severe thunderstorm. Some of these tropical downpours that'll be rotating around the center of circulation can bring some pretty gusty straight line winds in with them as well. So I'm not telling you to completely let your guard down as you go to bed tonight in East Alabama and West Georgia, but I will tell you that this does not look like it's going to be a significant severe weather outbreak for our areas. Now, the green boxes, you'll notice up here, Randolph, Randolph, Tallapoosa, Chambers, Lee, and then in Georgia, Harris, Troup, Heard, and Carroll are all covered in green. That is a flash flood watch, and that flash flood watch goes through 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. Now, I think we're looking at a range of 2 to 4 inches in this area of East Alabama and West Georgia. I think East Alabama's on the 2-inch side. I think as we get into West Georgia, you may be over on the 4-inch side. So I don't think we're looking at major flooding problems here in East Alabama and West Georgia as well. I think, though, once you get up into Northeast Georgia, north of I-85 and to the east of 400, up in the Northeast Georgia mountains, where I broadcast from, we could be looking at 4 to 6 inches of rain up here, and some localized spots could see even more than that. And that is because of the interaction of the tropical system with the Appalachian Mountains across North Georgia. Sometimes that will enhance the rainfall amount. So it is conceivable we could see some areas of flash flooding up here in Northeast Georgia tomorrow. Primarily, we're talking mid-morning through mid-afternoon tomorrow is when the heaviest rain will fall up here. So that's kind of what we're looking at now. There's several things I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to go take a look at the chat room and answer any questions you may have. And we'll just have a little general discussion here in a few moments. I also think that God's Country and the Classic over in Clay County, Alabama is broadcasting with us this evening. So we're simulcasting on our complete Dr. Don Weather Network this evening. And we welcome those of you who are listening and are watching us over in Clay County, Alabama. And what I've been talking about pretty much holds true for you as well, Clay County. You're not under any types of watches at this time. Again, Randolph, Tallapoosa, Chambers, and Lee. And then in West Georgia, Carroll, Hurd, Troop, and Harris are under a flash flood watch. Clay County, you're not. We'll see if that changes. It probably will not as we move forward. So I think this is going to be a rainmaker for the most part for East Alabama and West Georgia. And I think for that area, we're talking somewhere around 2 inches of rain once everything is said and done. And then as you go east, those rain chances or rain accumulations will increase up to around 4 inches by the time you get over there in middle Georgia. And then as you go up into northeast Georgia, we're looking at 4 to 6 inches possible. And up in the mountain regions, maybe closer to the 6. And some isolated spots could see a little bit more than that. So now what I want to do is go back and put the reflectivity back on. And then I'm going to take the watch boxes off because that clutters things up a bit. These are all flash flood warnings you see down here in southeast Alabama. That comes straight from the National Weather Service, and I can't take those off. But you see we have a flash flood warning now in effect for the greater Dothan area, and that's for this heavy band that's stretching from just north of Dothan back over toward Enterprise, and then all the way down here to around I-10 in northwest Florida. Very heavy rainfall right there. Now, in a tropical setup, typically we tell you the green is light, the yellow is moderate, and the red is heavy as far as rain is concerned. But in a tropical setup like what we see tonight, you can pretty much bet that the light green is somewhere between moderate and heavy. The green is heavy, the yellow is very heavy, and red is, well, you don't even want to be under that because that is copious amounts of rain falling. So that yellow band right there with a little tan or red mixed into it, that's very, very heavy rainfall falling there across southeast Alabama. That is moving up to the north and turning to the left at the same time. It's spiraling around the center of circulation, which is down here. In this region, right along I-10, just north of Bluntstown, down here in Florida. And it's going to continue to kind of move up in this general direction, and it will pull this moisture with it as it moves to the north. So let's go on up to the north, and we'll take a look now. Columbus, you've got some rain falling, steady rain falling there. Northern Chambers County, we've got some steady rain falling there. So it is raining from Roanoke down to about Lafayette. Down here in Lee County, we have rain over on the western side of the county, west of I-85. And then some rain showers up here in northern Tallapoosa County as well. And then one of the outer feeder bands stretches all the way back over into central Alabama. So there are some small pockets of heavy rainfall over here, too, just northwest of Clanton and just west of the Centerville-Brent area over in Bibb County. And then over in Georgia, we have scattered packets of showers and thunderstorms taking place. We've had some heavy rain up here in North Georgia this afternoon as well. But what I'm getting at here is the really heavy stuff is still down here in southeast Alabama and southwest Georgia. and that'll pull off to the north and northeast as we go throughout the night. How much of that makes it into East Alabama and West Georgia? We'll just have to wait and see. Fred has been kind of a hard storm to forecast because Fred was on life support for most of its trek across the tropics. I mean, Fred was just beat up and battered and had to deal with mountainous regions of Cuba and Hispaniola, and then it had to deal with massive amounts of shear out in the Gulf of Mexico. And then just as Fred got ready to make landfall, he had one last gasp of breath and actually got pretty well organized about 4 or 5 hours before making landfall and made a run at going to hurricane status right before landfall. So that track has been shifting back and forth because the low pressure system was redeveloping in different locations because it was fighting for its life. That's why it was so hard to get the track right on this particular storm. But now that it has made landfall, and now that it is on land, and we know the cold front that's coming down, we know how all that's going to work, I can almost guarantee you this track is going to be correct. It's going to continue up through southeast Alabama, and then right up the Alabama-Georgia state line up to just east of Columbus, and then right on through Atlanta and up through North Georgia. How big is the rain shield when it passes through West Georgia and East Alabama is going to determine how much rainfall you're going to get. And the further west you go from the center, the least amount of rain you're going to see. That's why I think my Alabama counties are closer to the 2-inch range, and you may even be less than that. We may be looking at 1 inch across East Alabama counties and 1.5 inches across West Georgia counties. But I don't think we're looking at flooding issues there. I don't think we're looking at a major tornado threat across East Alabama or West Georgia. Will it be gusty from time to time? Yes, it will. Wind gusts of 15 to 25 miles per hour certainly are possible across that region. And then the further east you go, the higher those winds will be. So that's kind of where we stand right now. Again, this is not going to be a major storm system for East Alabama or West Georgia. I can't tell you how many text messages I've received over the last 24 hours wanting to compare this to Opal. That is the benchmark for Alabama, and I understand that because I worked all night that night on a fire truck. I understand the words Opal are frightening to folks across East Alabama and West Georgia. And this is going to be not even in the same book, much less the same chapter or same page. This is nowhere near anything like what we saw with Hurricane Opal. This is just a tropical storm, and it's not even a tropical storm anymore. And by the time it gets up there around West Georgia and East Alabama, we're probably looking at a minimal depression as it moves on off to the northeast. All right, so let's take some, let me go up here and take a look at the chat room, and let me start the radar loop so you can kind of see before I do that, before you can kind of see which way this thing is moving. And you'll notice how the storms are swirling or wrapping counterclockwise around the center of rotation. And they're kind of going back to the west as the entire system pulls off to the northeast. And you can see up here in East Alabama, we have some moderate showers just north of Columbus. That's trying to work up into Troup County, and eventually we'll get up there into Heard, probably over into eastern Randolph, eastern Chambers. We'll see some of this stuff as well. But again, the copious rain, the tropical downpour stuff, that's the darker greens and yellows you see down here from Eufaula all the way back down to I-10 down there in Florida. All right, so let's take a look at some of the comments in the chat room. I'll answer questions if you guys have any. Let's see here. Hello, Cassie and Jeffrey Lamb watching us tonight. There's Willard Earl. Let's see. Sharon Willis is watching us this evening. Lisa Benefield watching from Wedowee. Gloria Pearl. Thank you, Gloria. Gloria, nice to have you with us. Kathy Stevens is watching from Wedowee. Tamika Marable is watching us from Wedowee. There's Sabra Burns. Good evening to you, Miss Sabra. Charity Gosden's watching us. I think I just gave you a little good news there, Charity. I don't think we're looking at a major deal here. Could we have a gust of wind knock down a tree and some of you lose power? Absolutely, that could happen. Are we looking at a tornado coming through and tearing up half the county and knocking out power to thousands of people? No, that's not going to happen. Let's see here. Jonathan Jones, there's the man behind the plan. He is one of our IT guys here at Dr. Don's Weather and just had a brand new baby girl. Ella Grace was born day before yesterday, is that right? I checked with producer Tracy on that one. But anyway, Jonathan and Lisa, congratulations to you on the brand new baby girl. We're going to come see you tomorrow if the weather will allow it. Sheila Haney is watching us tonight. You're welcome. Sheila, appreciate that. Melissa Roundtree watching from Delta, Alabama. Cassie and Jeffrey is in Lafayette. We pronounce it Lafayette in Alabama. Over here in Georgia, it is Lafayette. Let's see. Regina Smith is watching us from Roanoke. There's Michael Kramer. He's watching us from Valley. Lisa Fettner Gray is in Lynette. Let's see. Lincoln Whaley's watching us at Lake Harding down there in extreme southern Chambers County. Daryl Tucker in Smith Station. Daryl, you're going to be fairly close to this thing when it comes through. I think you'll be on the west side of the storm, which is the good side to be on, but you're going to be pretty close to it. Angela Boyd's watching us in 5 Points. Jackie Warren out there in Country Club Estates in Roanoke, Alabama. Let's see here who else we've got. Becky Jackson Royston watching us in Roanoke. Carly Singleton in Roosterville over in Georgia. Caroline Ramsey's watching us from LaGrange. Jeff Cantrell is in Wedowee. Patsy Knight from the Corinth community. Nice to have you in here, Miss Patsy. Jack Brock is watching us in the house at Wedowee. Patricia Carfus is watching us in Roanoke. Donna Nord Mitchum from Spanish Fort. Now, you're down there on the water, but Donna, you're okay. You're so far well removed from the center of circulation. No issues in Spanish Fort tonight or tomorrow. Maybe some issues out there on the beach, with some rip currents, but as far as weather's concerned, actually will probably be a pretty nice evening down there this evening. Sheila Haney's watching us in Gadsden for the moment. Dale Bradford in Roanoke. There's Jen Bates watching us in Smith Station. Tammy Cross from Woodland, Alabama. Judy Tuttle is watching us this evening down in Hughley, down in Chambers County. Tracy Meadows checking in from Lafayette. Gloria's watching us from Stroud. Penny Justice is in Calhoun, Georgia. That's another Alabama person gone wrong to Georgia. I'm one of them, too. Robin Bayless, Randolph County at the Big Springs community up on 87. Delane Moore is watching us from Roanoke. Marty Duke. Hello, Marty. Nice to have you with us. Angel Brown is in Roanoke. Becky Burke's in Roanoke. Kenneth Keith is in Chatsworth, Georgia. Teresa Stovall watching us from Rock Mills. Terry Gray watching from Lynette. Ross Torrey is down there in Lafayette. Vanessa Brown. You're more than welcome, Vanessa. I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching us up there on the hill in Woodland, Alabama. Regina Lipham watching from Wedowee. Mandy Collier is watching us from Midland, Georgia. Kim Phillips in Standing Rock. Jennifer Caulfield is in Lafayette. There's Carolyn Good watching from downtown Woodland. Brian Bullock, Jackson County, Georgia. Brian's one of my not a headache. I wasn't going to say that. Brian is one of my EMA directors down in Jackson County, Georgia. I'm just picking on you, Brian. Norma Jean Cantrell watching from Napoleon, Alabama. There's Shannon McDaniel in Rocky Branch. Lillian Ford's in Hogansville. Hogansville, you're going to be relatively close to the center of circulation. You're going to be on the west side as well, but you're going to be a lot closer than most of East Alabama and West Georgia when the storm moves through later tonight and early tomorrow morning. Martha Shepard is watching us this evening. Alan Sue Overton is watching. Let's see here. Let me see if we've got anybody with any questions. So I'm going to kind of move along a little quickly here. Ranburne, Alabama's in the house. Pine Mountain. There's Patricia Brown. Milltown. All right, so here's a question. When will the winds start? Yeah, so I don't think this is a case where the winds are going to start and then continuously blow or be sustained for any length of time, because the center of circulation, again, understand, the winds, the sustained winds, are pretty close to the center of circulation, and they expand out to the east of the storm. That's the dirty side of the storm. You don't want to be on the east side of this thing, and all of East Alabama and West Georgia is going to be on the west side. So any wind that East Alabama and West Georgia gets will be from some of the heavier thunderstorms that rotate through the area, and that would be these thunderstorms you see down here around Dothan. As the storm moves north and northeast, and it's going to be a very close call, especially for you folks in East Alabama. I'm not so sure, places like Clay, Talladega, Coosa, and Elmore probably are not going to get any of these thunderstorms. And it's going to be a real close call for Randolph and Eastern Clay, and Tallapoosa, Chambers, and Lee. Lee stands a better chance than Chambers, and Chambers stands a better chance than Randolph. That's because of the trajectory that this thing is moving in. I mean, it's going to be moving off to the northeast. So the outer edges over there on the left-hand side of the rotation could scrape East Alabama and West Georgia. But the further east you are, the better the chances are you'll see these heavier storms. That's where you'll get the majority of the wind from. This is not a big, blowing, huge tropical storm or hurricane that's going to come in like Opal did and give us 90-mile-per-hour winds for 12 hours like Opal did. That's not what we're talking about here at all. So I think we're looking at more of a gusty situation in East Alabama and West Georgia. The sustained wind possibility would be more over in central or middle Georgia, back up toward Atlanta, maybe even on the east side of Atlanta. So Brian Bullock down there in Jackson County, my folks down in Barrow County, Walton County, back over toward Oconee, Athens, Clark, maybe up into Banks, Hall, and White County. We're talking Georgia counties now. Those counties may see some sustained winds. Again, that probably won't be until after sunrise tomorrow morning. But any of you that's going to be on the western side of this thing, I don't think you're going to see sustained winds at all. Gusty winds, yes, but not sustained. Yes, Sharon, I know. I started to go pull up the Sanford and Son theme song and play a little bit of that. If it wasn't copyrighted, I would have done that. But I'm not paying $2,000 to play the Sanford and Son theme song. Ain't happening. Thank you, Kim Phillips. I appreciate your kind words. Susan's in LaGrange. Bria's up there on the ridge. And let's see. I'm just looking to see if anybody else has any questions. If you don't understand something, or if I didn't make something clear, you didn't quite understand what I was talking about, don't be bashful. That's what we're here for. I love answering questions and talking to you guys on the chat board. I'd rather do that than anything else. That's fun stuff. Kim Tate's watching us on County Road 43. I got a little bit of an interest on County Road 43. So, Miss Kim, you can rest assured I'm watching County Road 43. Pam Murphy watching us from Bremen, Georgia. We've got Noonan, Georgia in the house. Good evening to you, Miss Elaine. Gail Wortham's watching us down there in the loveliest village on the plains, War Eagle. War Eagle. It's about that time, isn't it, Miss Gail? Time to play football. Y'all, I got to tell you funny, and I've got some audio bites from him. I'm going to play a little bit as soon as I have a chance to put it together. But so over the weekend, one of my grandkids was with me. It's the only grandchild that I probably have any hope whatsoever of making an Auburn fan out of. And so I work on him all the time. So as they're pulling out of the driveway this morning going back to Alabama, that little joker rolled the window down and he hollered. as loud and as clear as he could that RT stuff, the roll, you know what, I can't say it, but he did just as clear as he could. I'm gonna get him. Janet's watching us up there at Mount Cheehaw. Let's see here. When is the bad hitting? All right, so Crystal Ray's asking the question, when is the bad hitting? Well, Crystal, number one, I need to know where you are. But if you're in East Alabama or West Georgia, I'm not thinking you're going to see anything bad. Could we have a rogue severe thunderstorm? Yes. Would it affect the entire area? Probably not, because we're not looking at a huge tropical system here. Could we have a thunderstorm that brings in gusty winds of 25, 30 miles per hour? Absolutely we could. Anytime you got a tropical system within, 100 miles of you, there's always that possibility of a severe storm or a spin-up tornado. And I'm not trying to minimize this for East Alabama or West Georgia by no means, but I do want you to understand we're not looking at a major outbreak of severe weather here, but a rogue severe storm is possible, just not likely in this particular setup in East Alabama and West Georgia. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm saying. As you get closer to the center of circulation back over in middle Georgia, and I'm talking Columbus East, the chances or the threat of severe weather, I should say, will increase significantly. And even then, though, I think we're talking more of a flooding threat than we are severe thunderstorm or tornado threat. Kelly, same thing up here in North Georgia. It's been raining off and on here since about 3 o'clock this afternoon as well. And that's what we're going to see. Until this area down here, that's down there around Dothan, until those yellows and reds and greens you see from Eufaula to Dothan, until that gets up into East Alabama and West Georgia. And again, I don't know how much of that makes it into East Alabama. On the conservative side, nothing. But maybe a little bit of it makes it into East Alabama. That's when you'll start to see the heavier tropical downpours. And that could last for several hours throughout the night. Buchanan, Georgia's in the house. Crystal Ray, nice to have you in here with us. Yes, Alexander City is on the west side of the storm. Hello, Scott Morris. Nice to have you. Chris Martin. You're more than welcome, Miss Chris. Aren't we proud of Chuck Markham? Huh? That boy's done made it big time. I mean, we talking about going to the city as the state Board of Education Chief of Staff. Awfully proud of some Chuck Markham. Good guy right there. And I'm proud of the fact I was on the Roanoke City School Board when Chuck was hired 18 years ago. Good gracious. Yeah, awfully proud. That was one of the accomplishments the Roanoke City School Board is very proud of, hiring Chuck Markham some 18 years ago. And if you hadn't heard the news, he has been appointed as the Chief of Staff for the Alabama Board of Education. And it couldn't have happened to a greater guy. He will do a fantastic job. He will make the state of Alabama very proud. There's one more step after that, Chuck. We'll see. You got my vote anyway. And I did tell him, I sent him a message and told him he can still call me at 2 a.m. to talk weather. And his response was, in that position, I hope I don't have to worry about the weather. I'd say, well, call me anyway. We can make it seem like old times. I've been gone from Roanoke for 12 years, and he was still calling me. I wouldn't have had it any other way, though. All right, let's see. James Rampy is in the house this evening. Ricky Smith tuning in from Roanoke. Dolores Burgess. Hey, Miss Dolores, how you doing? She's watching in Roanoke. Deborah Brown is in Roanoke. Crystal saying, thank you from Buchanan, Georgia. Thank you, Crystal, for being in here with us. We watch that area. I can promise you, if we get something serious on the ground and anywhere in West Georgia, we're going to cover it for you. Yeah, amen, Kelly. Congratulations to Chuck. That was state of Alabama most certainly got that one right. Jennifer Smith is watching us from Opelika. Y'all, I got me a new coffee percolator. Now, here's another funny. So, I was explaining to my daughter, Samantha, that I got a new coffee percolator, and she said, "What's a percolator?" I said, "It's a percolator." And I had to explain to her what a percolator was. Of course, those of you who are in the same age class as I am, you know what a percolator is, but I guess some of the younger folks probably don't have a clue what a coffee percolator is. But that's the way you used to make coffee back in the day. There wasn't no such thing as a Keurig and all this other fancy stuff that we do today. So I went and bought me a percolator. It's electric because I don't have a gas stove. I wish I did. But I'm so back in the boondocks, it would take months to pipe the gas into me, so I have to do it with electricity. And I'm just awfully proud of my new coffee percolator. It's making some fine coffee. Thank you, Chance. I appreciate your kind words, and I appreciate everything you do in posting the Dr. Don stuff. All right, Ralph Brooks, you have a good night. Broughton Ridge is in the house this evening as well, and little old Roanoke. There's Jesse watching us this evening. All right, folks, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through this one more quick time and kind of tell you what I think is going to happen, what's happening now, and where I think we go from here. And then it's going to be kind of a live watch and see. I'll take the feed down. I'll be monitoring the situation throughout the night. If anything were to change, if I start to see that we may have a chance at some severe weather, then I'll come right back and we'll ride this thing together. Again, the good news here, and sometimes you'd have to stop paying attention at technology and literally open the window and look and see what's happening. And the good news here is we've had no inland warnings of any kind whatsoever. And Fred has been on shore and inland now since about 3 o'clock this afternoon. I mean, we had a few warnings down there right on the coast, on the beach, but I'm talking up inland. I'm talking about in southeast Alabama, southwest Georgia. We just are not seeing any warnings other than flash flood. We do have some flash flood warnings down there in southeast Alabama, but I'm talking about severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. We're not seeing them. And you can see on the screen, there's very little lightning output. And, typically lightning goes right along with severe weather. And other than that real heavy band that's rotating just to the west of Dothan, let's zoom in on that. Other than this very heavy band over here west of Dothan back toward Enterprise, running right along 84, headed right straight for Enterprise. Other than that, and the heavy rain up here in Ozark, that's the heaviest storm out there right now. And it is a little bit on the west side of the circulation, which is a little bit odd as well. But down here, this is where you would expect to see the tornado warnings. This is because here's what's happening. The storm, you see these feeder bands coming in off the Gulf of Mexico, spiraling up and then wrapping around the center. So down here around Perry, Florida, that's where you would expect to start seeing some tornado warnings, right here. And then even way down here in central Florida, between Daytona and Orlando, there's more lightning down there than it is way up there around the center of circulation. You would expect to see your tornado warnings out here in these feeder bands, because as these storms move to the north and then start to pull back to the left to wrap around that center of circulation, you start get veering in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and that's what makes the storm rotate, and that's what forms the tornadoes. And we're just not seeing it so far this evening. And though it's not guaranteed, probably as we continue to lose the heat of the day, these storms are going to calm down a little bit. So I would not anticipate seeing a lot of severe weather out of this storm tonight. Now, tomorrow, as we get the heating of the day going again, that could be a different story. But by that time, the center of circulation is either in Atlanta or approaching Atlanta by that time. And so that would put East Georgia, maybe Northeast Georgia, and upstate South Carolina in the danger zone for severe weather, and that would be tomorrow afternoon. So again, we're going to watch this as it goes throughout the night. Continue to move off to the north. Let me put the track back on for you right quick so you can see what the expected track of this storm is. If my computer will cooperate. There we go. All right, so there's where the center of circulation is right now. Just right now, as we speak, coming across I-10, north of Panama City, between Defuniak Springs and Tallahassee. And it'll continue off to the north, maybe just a little bit east of downtown Dothan. And then we're looking at it crossing into Georgia much sooner than originally forecast. Should cross into Georgia somewhere just south of Eufaula and then continue to a point just to the east of Columbus. And then right across the east metro Atlanta area. That would be sometime probably mid-morning tomorrow. And now the track is shifted a little bit further to the east. So let me zoom in and show you guys something. So this line right here, let me stop the radar because that'll confuse you. This flashing line right here is the expected track of the storm. This is Dahlonega, Georgia. There's the expected track of the storm, and there's Dr. Don Studios. I can literally throw a rock from my deck outside and hit this line where they say now the storm is going to track. So I ought to be able to give you a bird's eye view of what Tropical Storm Fred looks like as it passes through North Georgia tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning in Clarksville. That is not looking likely because it is going to be some kind of raining up here. All this stuff you see down here around Dothan is going to come right over my house probably mid-morning tomorrow. But again, we're not anticipating it being severe, just a whole lot of rain. Is what we are anticipating. So that's the story, folks. Again, I'll be watching this as we go throughout the night. I'll be back in here with you first thing tomorrow morning. Typically, I do my primetime forecast. I record it sometime around 6 a.m. every morning, and then I'll post it and upload it to Facebook and YouTube and the Dr. Don weather app. But we're in what I call the live mode now. So until the threat's completely gone, everything I do will be live. So most likely tomorrow morning, somewhere around 6 a.m. Central, I will go live and give you the absolute latest on this situation, other than if something changes or something happens before then, I'll be right back live with you at that time. So again, I would like to invite you to go over to DrDonWX.com to support Dr. Don's weather. And again, there's the link. All you have to do is click on that and then go to the donation button at the top of the page, and then you can support us. Thank you, Mark Hall. Mark Hall is a Dr. Don supporter. We thank you, sir. And join Mark and the other folks who support us by going to DrDonWX.com. Click on that donate button. We depend on you and our partners, Southern Union, and all the folks you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen to keep us going. This is a somewhat of an expensive venture, and we need all the help we can get. So we ask that you please consider doing that as we continue our live coverage for East Alabama and West Georgia. One more time, few light showers up there in Chambers County, northern Chambers County, few light showers across East or West Georgia. The really heavy stuff is down here around Dothan. That will continue to lift off to the north, northeast, maybe clipping East Alabama. West Georgia stands a better chance of seeing some of this very heavy rainfall. City of Atlanta is going to get nailed with heavy rainfall about sunrise tomorrow morning, and we'll have to watch for the possibility of severe weather back over here in East Georgia and Northeast Georgia as we get into tomorrow afternoon. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, I'll see you back in here by about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning or sooner if need be on Dr. Don's weather. Y'all have a good night.